Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Filipino Yelping Society in Norway. I'm Mitch, FHS volunteer. Today, we will be discussing about aiming for continuing studies in Norway, especially for education obtained from another country. We will include and focus on the important information about its requirements and qualifications during admission. For those asylum seekers and newcomers intending to settle with their family and make use of their profession here, or just a potential student and someone curious about application processes in Norway, then this might be for you. So please stay with us until the end. So for everyone's information, FHS is an NGO which helps with information drive to benefit the migrant groups in Norway. Therefore, information may or may not apply to your situation, so discretion is necessary. Under no circumstances will our organization be held responsible nor liable in any way for any claims or liabilities resulting or arising directly or indirectly from your use of the information we are about to present.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Grace, an FHS volunteer. Welcome to our live event. Kindly let us know which city in Norway you came from. Just comment down below and let's make the comment section interactive. First off, depending on which country you're coming from, you may be entitled and or required to obtain further education and training. Norwegian education system has preschool education, primary education, and lower secondary education. The upper secondary education, which includes general studies and vocational training. The folk high school, tertiary vocational education, and the higher education.
Let's start with secondary education and the Norwegian language requirements. There are no special requirements with respect to proficiency in Norwegian in admission to secondary education and training. But in accordance with the Introduction Act, especially if you are a newly arrived immigrant with the right or obligation to attend Norwegian classes, it is advised that you take Norwegian classes before you start upper secondary school. There is also a special language education offered during secondary education and training, particularly for those facing challenges with the language and with other mother tongue. Then there are special rights just for you. For example, the right to have a translator.
Yes, certainly. The special language education is for those belonging language minorities. Language minority students are those whose native language is not Norwegian or Sami. And in that way, you may be eligible for special language education. You can receive additional Norwegian language tuition plus classes in your native language in one or more subjects. It is to say that speakers of minority languages may be eligible for extra Norwegian classes until they are fluent enough in Norwegian to take part in normal courses. So you have the right to special Norwegian education until you are sufficiently proficient in Norwegian to be able to follow the usual lessons.
I'd like to add that it is a case-to-case basis since the local authorities determine students' eligibility for this special language education. They decide what special tuition is recommended or required in each case. And the school charts your proficiency in a region before a decision on special language education is made. Charting is done during your education so that it is possible to decide as to when you can switch to the regular curriculum.
Vocational and higher education. Then we have the requirements for knowledge of Norwegian to study vocational and higher education. Everyone who applies for admission to a vocational and undergraduate program in Norway through the Norwegian Universities and Colleges Admission Service. So Mordneopptak.no must cover the language requirements in Norwegian with approved documentation.
If you are an applicant who completed and passed 3-year upper secondary education from countries outside the Nordic region, then you must document knowledge of Norwegian that has been approved for admission. If you have passed and completed upper secondary education from the other Nordic countries, then you do not need to document knowledge of Norwegian. If the vocational education is offered in a foreign language, you do not need to document knowledge in Norwegian. If it is only offered in Norwegian, then you must document knowledge in Norwegian. For undergraduate programs taught in Norwegian, you, as the applicant, have to meet the general admission requirement and document proficiency in the Norwegian language in order to be eligible for admission.
You may be wondering at what level of Norwegian language you should acquire. There are various ways to meet such requirements. The following includes written and oral Norwegian exams, 393 hours, third year level, from Norwegian Upper Secondary School, test in Norwegian Advanced Level, or test in Norsk Høyere Nivå, with a minimum score of passed or bestått in both the written and the oral test. Bergen test. The region for international students, level 3 at the universities. 1 year course in Norwegian language with 60 ECTS at Norwegian universities or university colleges. Norwegian language test for adult immigrants from Kompetanse Norge, formerly known as VOXT, with a result B2 or CN in all four disciplines.
Moving on to the accreditation and approval of upper secondary education and vocational training taken abroad, if you have taken all or part of your upper secondary education and training abroad and want to apply for admission or acceptance to upper secondary education and training in Norway, it is best to contact the counseling service at the school to which you are applying to and seek for advice and guidance with regards to potential recognition of individual subjects and perhaps exemption from certain subjects. They can tell you if you can be exempted from entire school years successfully completed abroad and answer questions about programs and subjects. You may apply for accreditation of an entire education year as an equivalent to Norwegian education. If you have received accreditation for one education year from abroad, you are considered eligible for admission to the next level in Norway. For example, at videregående 2 or videregående 3. However, the accredited education year you took abroad does not mean that all the subjects that are part of the education year in question are approved in Norway. So please be advised that you must contact the admissions office of the school you intend to attend. And if you plan on taking vocational school and if you have an education from abroad and you are unsure whether you cover the admission requirement, you can contact the relevant vocational training office in your county, municipality, or the vocational school you're applying to. Next slide, please. Applications for admission to public and several private vocational schools are normally processed by the Norwegian Universities and Colleges Admission Service, so murnaopptak.no. For some of the private vocational schools, you need to send the application directly to the vocational school you wish to attend. It is best to check the website of your prospective vocational school and contact them for more information.
Just to add, this information is applicable for upper secondary education, especially Bredregana N up to Bredregana 3. For those without grades from the Norwegian education system, don't worry. If your grades are not comparable to the Norwegian grading system, because you will be assessed individually, and there is what they call admission after individual treatment. The rules governing admission after individual treatment are in accordance with Chapter 6 of the regulations to the Education Act. You may check out for more on bibli.no under admission after individual treatment section.
Thanks for that, partner. Moreover, with regard to the accreditation and approval of higher education taken abroad, if you plan to apply for higher education in Norway and intend to get a study place, and for you to get a study place, first you must provide documents for completed upper secondary education from abroad or the corresponding general study qualifications. Second, the covered requirements for Norwegian like competency bevis from Kompetanse Norge and English proficiency such as IELTS and TOEFL, and lastly, any other relevant documentation in accordance with the study program you're interested in. It's still the Norwegian Universities and Colleges Admission Service, samordnaopptak.no, that administers admission to first degree level programs such as undergraduate or 1 year programs at universities and university colleges. The higher education entrance qualification or a corresponding general study qualification is a requirement for admission to higher education, but the programs can have different additional admission criteria. Some programs require certain grades or certain combination of subjects from upper secondary education. If a program has more applicants than places, applicants will compete for admission based on points calculated on the applicant's grades from upper secondary school and bonus points earned in other contexts.
You can check the utdanning.no for any updated points and subjects required on each course you want to partake in. These are common codes that we can see as part of the requirements for higher education. GENS, General Study Competence, English, History, Basic Math, Social Study, Norwegian. RN and R2 stands for Real Fag, our study competency for mathematics, which includes geometry, algebra, and trigonometry.
Udaning.no also offer a character calculator of points. Those who are at home can try this later and see if you have enough points to apply in the university. By the way, UBC Norway will be discussing important website in the future info drive such as Udaning.no, and you can see on your screens the websites, the website, and we will eventually use this calculator for you to see how to use it. So watch out, guys.
And in case you are wondering, for those with vocational qualifications instead, particularly with trade or journeyman's certificate. Some programs admit applicants without the higher education entrance qualification. Rather, you go through the vocational pathway. Admission to this program is based on a relevant craft or journeyman's certificate or upper secondary vocational qualifications. It is up to the institutions to choose whether to admit students via the vocational pathway, and you must apply to the Ministry of Education and Research for exemption from, from ordinary admission procedure.
Some private educational institutions have their own admission procedures as well, and certain applications to such institution must be sent directly to them. Therefore, we advise that you visit the website of the university you're interested in attending and find the criteria, requirements, relevant instruction for admission for the respective study program you'd wish to take. And again, Dunning.no also has all the basic information you need.
Suddenly, we didn't able to put Lonicasa on our presentation, but Lonicasa, everyone who has been accepted in high school and university has the right to apply in Lonicasa. You can apply if you are full-time, part-time, and full-time vacation student. There are some conditions you need to fulfill in order to obtain a grant in Lonicasa. First is living with parents where loans are not converted to grants. Up to 40% of this loan can be converted into a scholarship. If you do not live with your parents, you passed your education and have income and wealth below the limits. For more information, you can just visit their website at www.lonicasa.no. Now we'll move forward to the admission and studying in Norway. Mitch, with regards to admission and studying in Norway, do they have applications, deadlines, or schedules?
Yes, Grace. Courses in Norway usually starts from August for autumn semester. Universities set their application deadlines between December 1, the previous year, and March 15, the same year the school year starts. Although some schools may have pre-qualification deadlines, if you want to come to Norway for your degree, do your research early to make sure you don't miss application dates. Otherwise, you may need to wait for the following year. Academic and formal admission requirements are set by the university. So if you plan to apply for a master's degree in Norway, you may also have to show that your previous academic education includes courses that amount to at least 1.5 years of studies in related subjects.
According to Bibli.no, 1st of March is the deadline for ordinary applications to offer secondary school and apprenticeship placements, while 1st of February is the deadline for special applications such as those with preferential rights, decision for special language education, or individual treatment. Though, according to semordinooftac.no, especially for us non-Nordic applicants, deadline for secondary education is 15th of April. For vocational education, the application opens on 1st of February, and it is still possible to make changes in your application and add more study requests until the application deadline, which is between March 1 or 15 of April. Similarly, with higher education, you can apply from 1st of February and make further changes and requests in your application until the deadline, which is either 1st of March or 15th of April. But please be reminded that it is important that you can find out which application deadlines applies to you. And as soon as you can start sending applications, do it and don't wait too long.
So, Grace, we all have this question. How much does it cost to study in Norway?
Oh, that's a really good question, Rich. Attending public universities in Norway do generally not charge tuition fees. It is normally tuition free even for international students. Norway's government focuses on giving everyone access to the education regardless of socio-economic background because most of the universities and university colleges are run by the Norwegian state. However, there are fees to join the student association, which also pays for the exams at the end of the semester. Though that won't cost you much more than 1,000 kroner or around 100 euros. Also, these fees go along with other benefits such as on campus health services, counseling, access to sports facilities, as well as reduced prices for public transport and cultural activities.
Thanks for that good info, Grace. Private universities, on the other hand, are not being funded by the state, so they do reserve the right to charge tuition fees, often as high as in other countries in Europe. But international students will never pay more than region-born students. Now we'll move forward to further studies qualifications for those with a bachelor's or master's degrees from the Philippines. So please listen carefully. Those who have obtained their bachelor's degree from the Philippines before the K-12 system was implemented are generally considered to be missing 2 years of education compared to the Norwegian system. Since many jobs in Norway require a master's level, it is advisable for those who would like to continue their career paths in Norway to submit their papers to NUKUT, Norwegian Agency for Quality Assurance in Education, for assessment to determine how many units are approved or equivalent in the Norwegian education system. You have general study qualifications when you have a completed high school diploma and a higher education. So you must have at least 1 year of higher education from 2018 or at least 2 years of higher education before the said year. You should document the education with official transcript in a sealed envelope from the university, sending it directly to samurnaoptak.no if you're applying for a place in universities. Nukut is a good way to begin with since they assess foreign education and offer information and advice related to the recognition of foreign education. Check out Nukut website on www.nukut.no for guidelines on how to submit and what to submit and processing times, as they do have an English page.
Thanks for that, Smooch. Those who eventually want to go farther with their studies are advised to check samordnaoftac.no for information on requirements or the degree they want to pursue. Investigate www.samordnaoftac.no/info. The requirements for applicants with education from Philippines are also listed on their webpage under the Utdaning fra Utlana section. Visit their website, you can see on your screen. Majority of bachelor level courses are in Norwegian, so there is an added language requirement for those who do not have Norwegian as their mother tongue. For non-native English speakers, there is an added requirements to prove their competency in English. The language requirements are also listed in samordnaoptak.no. Next. If the university you studied in the Philippines used English as a medium of instruction, it is usually is enough documentation. If uh, you can provide a certificate from your school. This must apply all the subjects that you want to be counted. As part of your general education, general study competenza. Otherwise, a satisfactory score from an IELTS, International English Language Test System, or TOEFL test, test of English as a foreign language, or similar will be acquired. A satisfactory result in Norwegian B2 or CN level is good enough for some courses. However, for those wanting to specialize in the health services, a satisfactory result from the Bergen test is highly recommended, since a higher level of fluency and understanding of Norwegian is essential for jobs in the healthcare services.
Other than the documented knowledge of Norwegian and English, generally you'll also need the following documents to upload during applications, like diploma and transcript of records from your high school education, official transcript of records and diploma from your higher education if you've completed a degree. There might be cases that the university will do their own assessment and have a higher requirement than than what Nukut is asking for. The best way with it is to do your own research so that you are armed with knowledge on what is required or expected, and do not hesitate to file a complaint if you feel that you meet the requirements but the university is saying that you don't. In Norway, one has the right to complain if you feel you have reasonable grounds to do so. It must be done properly, of course, in written form. In many cases, it will pay off, especially if you have done your research and there is a loophole in the system that can be to your advantage. Once you have gotten into the university for bachelor's level, or to take supplementary subjects to obtain an equivalent Norwegian bachelor's level, it will be easier to apply for a master's degree because you are already in the system. Good luck and wishing you all the best on your higher education journey.
We pretty much covered the necessary prerequisite admission. But for those who had completed their studies a long time ago and no longer belong to the K 12 system and are, and are probably considering of continuing education in Norway, we've gathered few information on such special cases. How about those who completed upper secondary school after 2009? If you have completed upper secondary school after 2009, you have received training under the knowledge promotion. Then you have the general study competence. If you have completed and passed a study preparatory education program, you can also have attended a vocational education program for 2 years and take an extension year in the third year. When you have completed and passed all subjects and exams, you will have received a diploma stating that you have acquired general study competence. If you are unsure whether you have or will have general study qualifications, your school can give you more information about this. Remember that you must also cover the special admission requirements for the study you are applying for. How about those who completed upper secondary school after 1996?
Very good question, Grace. So, if you have completed upper secondary school between 1996 and 2009, you have received training under Reform 94. Then you have general study qualifications if you have completed and passed one of the following fields of study: allmänne, ekonomiske og administrative fag, general economic and administrative subjects, idrettsfag, sports subjects, musikk, dans og drama, music, dance and drama, naturbruk avslutte med VK2, naturforvaltning, nature resource with VK2, nature management, formgivningsfag med VK2, VKN og VK2, tegning, form og farge, styling or design subjects with VKN and VK2 drawing, shapes and color, medier og kommunikasjon, media and communication, grunnkurs og VKN yrkesfag og VK2 allmennfaglig påbygging, basic course, and VK1 vocational subjects and VK2 general subject extension. When you have completed and passed all subjects and exams, you will receive a diploma stating that you have acquired general study competence. How about who finished high school before 1997? So if you have completed upper secondary school before 1997, you have general admission if you have completed and passed allmän faglig studieretning, general field of study, handel och kontorfag, commerce, business and office field, examen atrium, general upper secondary school leaving certificate. If you are unsure whether you have general study qualifications, you can contact the admissions office at a college or university.
Thank you so much, Mitch. For those who missed this live program, you can watch the video again by visiting our official Facebook page at fhs.org.no and on our YouTube channel, the Filipino Helping Society in Norway. Visit our website as well at www.fhsnorge.org for more updates, other information drive, and to know more about our organization. I'd like to greet all newbies in Norway team members and volunteers watching.
And if you are passionate to help and want to utilize your skills, competence, and talents in serving others, please be one of us and be part of our community. You can register as a member and volunteer for free through our website. There are several benefits for all FHS members and volunteers. Again, visit our website at www.fhsnorge.org. We'd like to thank and mention the people behind creating this DigiSeminar, Eunice for technical, Sheila, Portia, Pinky for research team, for our script Rasi, and PC Enzo for the entire project support. On behalf of the Philippines Kayalpe Sampun Inorge FHS, I would also like to thank you all for watching the program and making it as productive as possible. Wishing everyone a safe and wonderful day. Have an amazing week, everyone.
Go ahead.
Guhelg!